Hi, I'm Dave Cassilo, and welcome to neo-varsity-live. I got Scott Patsko and Joe Noga with me, and we're going to be breaking down everything that is going on in football as we head into the all-important Week 10 of the season. There's a lot of stuff going on with playoffs, a lot of big games that are going to determine who's in, who's out, what's going on with seeding, and of course Saturday night, we got the biggest rivalry in the area, but we'll debate that a little later, St. Edward and St. Ignatius. Yep. And feel free to get involved with the conversation all night long. Hashtag NEOVarsity. Drop a question down in the comment section below the video. We're going to have players from St. Edward and St. Ignatius on a little later. But we're going to kick things off right now. I'm going to throw some quick questions at you. I want quick answers. Here we go. Heading into Week 10, what game has the biggest playoff implications?
There's a lot of them, but I think Villa Angel St. Joseph's game against Central Catholic is important. They had that huge win against St. Thomas Aquinas to keep their hopes alive. Now they're going to beat Central Catholic, which is something they didn't do last year.
Joe.
I'm going to stay with the smaller school theme, Elyria Catholic versus Rocky River. That's a game where Rocky River needs a win to get in. Elyria Catholic needs to cement their position in the playoffs.
Hudson, they got the #1 seed locked up, got a game against Twinsburg. Would you play any of the starters this week?
They're good. I don't know if they're good enough to beat a team with their second stringers. No, I don't think their starters are going to play a lot of. I mean, I expect to see like Gidani and some of the receivers maybe see limited action, but no.
Now, come on, Scott. You and I were both there. We saw them play Menor, and it was pretty good on offense. I'd say definitely rest Gidani. I'd say Kyle Ator is a capable backup. He could probably play the whole game, and they could still probably come out on top.
All right, team you saw last week, Benedictine. Can they win a state title?
If they can get past Cardinal Mooney, they can. I mean, they have matchup problems for a lot of people with Baker, and then you have Elaine on the outside. Not a lot of people can deal with that. So I think Mooney will be the benchmark for them.
Sure.
Yeah, Mooney's a tough opponent, Scott, but I think with all the talent that you've got Justin Lane on the outside, you've got Jerome Baker now playing quarterback a little more often. I think Benedictine's going to be hard to beat in Division 4.
All right, let's move over to the Division 3 right now. Who's the best local team?
I have St. Vincent St. Mary ranked ahead of Aurora. I don't think it's a huge gap, but I still think that they're a little bit better.
Joe?
Yeah, it's easy. You pick our poll champion from last year as the Division 3 area best team. But yeah, I agree with you. Division 3, St. Vincent St. Mary. They've gotten hot. They beat Massillon last week. It's a pretty good team.
A game that was almost a huge upset, Beechwood and Kirtland. Kirtland wound up running away with it at the end. But what did you learn from that game?
Well, I learned that eventually Kirtland will wear you down. You know, I think that's what happened, and even afterwards, they kind of admitted that. It just kind of just wore them down up front.
Joe?
Well, I mean, Scott, you're sort of changing your tune over from the last couple of weeks. You're a guy who doesn't want to vote Kirtland very high in the poll because of their size and their lack of size on the line.
Against a small school, they can do that.
Against another small school, they can. I think what it taught us was anybody can have a bad half, but you really don't want to make Tiger Laverty angry.
No.
All right, we got our high school football helmet contest going on. What's your pick for best helmet?
You know, I looked through the finalists. I like Hudson's. I like the metallic look, and I think the ship on the side is kind of cool.
Cool. Joe?
Well, I don't know if Norton made it into the finals, but I do know that Norton had the baddest helmet from media days. The big tiger claw on the side, or the panther claw on the side. I thought it was pretty awesome.
As we hit Week 10 here, some teams are just can't wait for the season to end. Who's the most disappointing team in 2014?
You know, North Ridgeville is 4-5 right now. They got one of the best running backs in the state, Mario McCall. They got a new coach who's had come in and try some new things, but just didn't work out for whatever reason. I thought they would be a little bit better.
Joe?
I had really big high hopes for Brush this year, coming off a playoff appearance last year. Kind of let down by the folks over there at Brush. I expected a little more than a 2-win season.
Two strong teams in Division 2. Who's the bigger threat to make it to Columbus, Mayfield or Bedford?
Whoever avoids Glenville in the region, I think Glenville's the wild card there. And how high they finish and what matchups they get to, I think they're the team that either one of them has to get over to get there.
Joe?
Well, I know you, Scott, you think that Glenville can win without a quarterback. You know, maybe not in the playoffs, but definitely throughout the regular season. But I think a team that has a really good quarterback is Mayfield, and they're a dangerous and hot team.
Depending on who you talk to, this is the biggest game of Week 10, Midview and Berea Mid-Park. Let's finish it out. Who's going to win it?
I'm going to go with Midview. I'm not betting against Dustin Crum until I see somebody shut him down and stop him on offense. I think Midview.
Joe?
I'm taking Berea Mid-Park. I think Nick Gassman has them playing really well on offense. They play just enough defense to get by. I think Berea Mid-Park wins that game.
All right, great. We'll see what happens, and we'll make some more predictions later together. Right now, it's time for our weekly quiz that we're going to have on the show. This week it's very simple. It has to do with our big rivalry coming up on Saturday night. And the question is, what team has more wins in the St. Ignatius-St. Edward rivalry? So only two choices there, obviously. So tweet at us, hashtag neo-varsity, get in the comment section, and by the end of the show, we will throw the answer back at you. Right now, we are joined by two of the most talented players on both St. Edward and St. Ignatius. We've got Troy-Henderson of St. Edward, and we've got Luke Russell of St. Ignatius. Guys, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Glad you guys can stand next to each other with the big game on Saturday, but we won't keep you together for too long. Before I get started with my questions, we've got some questions from some fans on our website. Commenter Commander, we'll ask this one to you first, Luke. How do you think St. Edward's offensive line is going to hold up against your team's pass rush?
Oh, well, we have a great defensive line. They've been able to, penetrate against almost every team this year. So, we'll see how they do on Saturday.
All right, and comment from Joe. Can St. Edward stop Ignatius and the strong pass game they have? How do you go about attacking that?
I'm very confident in my defense. I just think we just got to read our keys and play sound football and line up to the formations right, and we'll be fine.
All right, Troy. What does this rivalry mean to you?
I'm not real big into the rivalry. I just feel like it's another game, another week to get better and get closer to our goal. So that's exactly how we're going to treat it. So.
And Luke, what about you? What does rivalry mean?
Same thing. We just treat it as another game. We let the whole rivalry. That's for the fans and everybody else. So we just look at it as another game.
But Luke, what do you remember about last year's game?
It was really fun.
Yeah.
A lot of hype.
And Troy, what about you?
Yeah, it was crazy. I know some stuff on Twitter was a little crazy too. So yeah, it was very live. The atmosphere was crazy. It was a great game.
Troy, you're at St. Edward. Why did you originally decide to go to the school?
I chose to go to St. Edward's because one of the co-workers my dad worked with, Quincy Jones, he went to St. Ed. So talking to him telling me about it made me very interested in going there.
And Luke, why did St. Ignatius appeal to you?
I had a lot of family that went there. Good academics, good sports. So.
Great. And Troy, midway through the season, St. Edward stumbled a bit. You had a couple losses. What did the team learn from those losses?
The team learned that we can be beat. We learned that we have to stick to our keys and play for one another. We learned that we have to pay more attention to the little details and everything. So it was a very humbling experience. I'm glad it happened in the middle season than later on in the season. So
great. Luke, it seems like so many players on St. Ignatius stepped up into bigger roles this year because you guys had a talented senior class last year. How did you go about making sure that you would fill some shoes this year?
Oh, well, we just did what we were told, work on all things in the offseason, keeping our elbows and just doing all the little things right, and everything else will, fall into place.
Depending on how playoffs go, this could be your final game at Byers Field. What do you remember most about it? What do you like about playing there?
It's just a great atmosphere. All the greats have played there, so we just look forward to playing. Hopefully not our last game, but if that's how it's got to be, that's how it's got to be.
Troy, what's it like playing for Coach Finati?
For playing for Coach Finati, it's very intense. He always preaches being physical, eyes, reading our keys, playing for one another, having faith in our team, having faith in the coaches, just believing in the right thing to do. So it's awesome. I wouldn't trade it to be anywhere else. I love being coached by Coach Finati.
Guys, as big as this game is, you got bigger games ahead of you. Both of your teams are very strong this year. Troy, we'll start with you. What does St. Edward need to do to win the state title?
To win a state title, St. Edward needs to focus on us and not worry about anybody else. Just focus on our keys, our assignments, focus on getting better every day at practice, focusing on playing as a team, having faith in one another.
Luke, same question to you.
Just playing all 4 quarters, executing, learning how to close out games, just doing all the little things right.
Luke, what was the most challenging thing that this team had to overcome at St. Ignatius this year?
Just, all the expectations, surrounding us before the season. I think we're projected to go like 3-8 this year. So, everyone looking down at us. I think it was kind of a challenge for us, and I think we overcame it.
What about you, Troy? What were some of the challenges for St. Edward?
Some of the challenges were we were ranked high preseason, playing on ESP in the first game, being ranked #1 in the country. So learning how to deal with positive pressure, learning how to exit that out. So I feel like we learned early on in the season what not to do, and now we know what to do.
Troy, when your career is over, what are you going to miss most about playing for the Eagles?
Mostly I'm going to miss just playing with my brothers. We're all like a big family at St. Ed, so that's the most important thing I'm going to miss.
All right, I want to get a scouting report from each of you. Luke, what is it going to take to win on Saturday?
Just playing all 4 quarters, offense, defense, special teams, just playing an all-around complete game.
Troy, what about St. Edward? What is it going to take for them?
Coming out fast is that's a big key with us. Creating turnovers on the defense side of the ball, helping out the offense, special teams making plays, offense making plays. So all 3 phases of the game making plays.
And now you talked about the team, but Troy, what do you individually need to do?
Individually, I just need to be a leader, keep leading the team in the right direction, help guys get lined up, read my keys, read my assignments, and just try to make a play when needed.
Luke, what about you? What do you need to do to make sure your team wins on Saturday?
Just run hard, read the blocks, read my keys, just play well.
Great. We'll be joined a little later by the 2 of you, and we're going to talk more, not about the rivalry, but sort of your off-the-field hobbies and what you like to do besides play football. So until then, we got a lot going on here, and now we're going to turn our attention to a video that reporter Cameron Moon put together at last week's Mentor-Hudson game, when the top 2 teams at that time in our cleveland.com poll played against each other. He followed around Mentor the day of the game, and this is what he saw.
Great night for football. You think back, this is why we do this. There's a lot of you sit there and you say, why do I put this kind of time in this from January on? This nights like tonight, gentlemen. This is why I bust your chops. This is why I get after you and push you. So you have opportunities like tonight. Let's enjoy this. Let's fly. Let's have some fun out there tonight. Second thing is, let's leave no doubt. Let's leave no doubt who's the best team in the state of Ohio right now. Let's get that point across tonight. It's going to be 48 minutes, guys. They're a good football team. It's going to be a battle. And who's willing to battle harder? That's all it comes down to. Are you tougher than them? Do you want it more than them? That's all it comes down to. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out if you've got that will to be great. Let's get after it. Let's get after it at full speed. Let's get after it physically, mentally, and emotionally. Leave no doubt, gentlemen. Let's have a great night. I told you it's a 48-minute game. You got to get tougher. Every one of you. Tougher. For 24 more minutes now. 24 more minutes. We didn't play the best and we should still be winning. Let's get after them now. Full speed. Play harder, play faster, play smarter, play better football. Let's get it done. Let's go. We didn't play well enough. Turned it over, dropped the ball. We get something going, and we give it right back one play later. We fall behind and give up safety. It wasn't a very well played game, coached well game at all. I told you all along, this isn't the one to count. It's the next one. We've been here before. Everybody get all gung ho. It's all about what you do 2 weeks from now. That's when the real stuff starts, and we got to get back to work. We'll see what we're made of, and we'll find out.
All right, welcome back. Each week here on cleveland.com, we have our high school roundtable topic. The way it works is we throw a question out to our readers, and you can either vote in a poll or leave a comment on it. Then later in the night, we'll discuss it here on neo-varsity-live. This week's kind of keeps with our St. Ed, St. Ignatius theme, and it's basically, is there a local football rivalry better than St. Edward or St. Ignatius? As far as the poll goes, it was pretty overwhelming. 82% said no. Heck no. And as far as the comments go, again, it was kind of one-sided. Eagle 74 said, no way is there a better rivalry today. The rivalry has been fierce ever since my days at Ed's in the early 70s. Factual Info points out that what makes it different is that these schools kind of draw heavily from the same pool of parochial schools. These kids know each other, they grew up with each other. Football Junkie kind of places these teams on in a different class because they play schedules that are so different from everybody else, and it says this game kind of equates that. It's kind of a different deal when you compare it to other rivalries. What's your take on it?
Right, and to your point about playing from this or drawing from the same pool, you've got kids who went to the same parochial grade schools and were teammates for 8 years, and then they separate for 4 years and they're adversaries. And these are kids who live in the same community, in the same neighborhood. One's flying an Ignatius banner, one's flying an Ed's banner. You look across the street and those are your brothers, those are your friends and your family. And that you're lined up against them. That's what makes it so intense.
I think for me, what makes this rivalry stand out is that it draws so many people in who aren't from St. Edward or St. Ignatius. It's like an event that you want to go and see. People are going to be at buyers who never went to either one of those schools. They just want to be there and be a part of it and kind of see what's going to happen because they know these teams are always going to be challenging on a state level.
And I've seen, and I've covered and been to Massillon-McKinley games, which is what a bunch of the commenters did come in and say. What about Massillon-McKinley? Well, they're outside of our coverage area, so we sort of limited it to Cuyahoga County and the 7 surrounding counties. Massillon-McKinley on that scale is fantastic, and all the pageantry, 2 towns against each other. But this is more than towns. This is classmates and brothers and family. It's totally different.
I think also when you even look at last year, as far as ranking goes, or how those records were going into that season, it doesn't really matter. It's the cliche, throw the records out. I think this kind of epitomizes that way of thinking, that it doesn't really matter how teams have done the first 9 weeks.
Yeah, Carmen Angelo, who's a radio broadcaster on TAM, and he's a St. Ed's guy. He told me this week, Ed's could play Ignatius in checkers in the parking lot at Byers Field, and they'd still draw 10,000 people, and he's probably right. So. We're going to move forward with the social blitz now. Each week we sort of ask you readers and viewers here on cleveland.com to tweet at us using the hashtag neo-varsity, tweet at our neo-varsity account, or comment on any of the stories that we post online. Continue to do that. The request is, we will bring you up on the show, have your comments read, share your opinions with us. Tell us what you think of our rankings, of our polls, and how you think we're doing. I am now joined by 2 members of, a member each from St. Ignatius and from St. Edward. We've got offensive lineman Jacob Reedy and quarterback Brett-Kean from St. Ignatius and St. Edward. Guys, we're going to play a little game show. It's game time. So we're going to go higher or lower. I'm going to give you guys your scoring beacons, and here's how we're going to play. I'm going to read a stat from the rivalry, and you just tell me if the real stat is higher or lower. So show everybody, show the camera, flip it up, flip it down, and we're going. It's going to be best out of 5, and we'll see who wins. All right. I'm going to shield my answers here so Brett can't see. In 2011, Tim Schenk kicked a field goal on the final play of regulation to give St. Ignatius a 20-17 win in the only playoff meeting between the 2 schools. Was the yardage of Schenk's field goal higher or lower than 35 yards? And Jacob, you have lower, and Brett, you have higher. The right answer is lower. 32 yards was the game-winning field goal by Tim Schenk. All right, so we got 1-0. Here we go. It's competitive. We've got a studio audience. Everybody's, on edge here, so it's a lot on the line here. You could cheer for your teammates too. Very good. In 2012, St. Edward wideout Anthony Young hauled in a flea flicker pass from quarterback Ryan Fallon on 4th and inches, tied the score, and proved to be a pivotal play in the Eagles' 20-13 win at Byers Field. Was the official yardage of the play higher or lower than 42 yards? Brett, you say higher. Jacob, you say lower. The right answer is lower, 33 yards.
Good job, Jake.
I was at the game. I wasn't.
So, all right, you were in Florida at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, you said this was before we were born.
Well,
Tricking me.
the next couple ones are actually from before.
Gotta even the playing field.
Here we go. I encourage your opposition. That's great. Don't do it on Saturday. In 1993, the triple overtime classic that you've all heard so much about, St. Ignatius quarterback Scott Mutrin and St. Edward quarterback Bobby Adams staged a classic gunslingers battle. Was the combined number of touchdown passes thrown by Mutrin and Adams higher or lower than 8? Brett, you say higher. Jacob, you say higher. You're correct. Both are correct. The total was 9, 4 for Adams and 5 for Mutrin. All right, we've got 3 here, but we're gonna finish out. We'll finish out the last 2 questions just to have some fun. In 1991, St. Edward handed St. Ignatius its second loss of the season, 14-10 in Week 8. Eagles running back Ron Hutchings scored what proved to be the game-winning touchdown early in the third quarter. Was the yardage on Hutchings' run higher or lower than 50 yards? Jacob says higher, Brett says lower. The correct answer, 52 yards higher. Dang. All right, we've got one more. This goes back to the year 2000. And the final question we have here, I'm going to show Brett the answer right there.
All right. I might get it wrong still.
In 2000, St. Ignatius jumped out to an early lead when Eagles quarterback Troy Smith, you've heard of him, right?
Yeah.
All right. Troy Smith threw a pick 6 to defensive back Luis Martinez in the first quarter. Was the yardage of Martinez's return higher or lower than 80 yards?
You go first, and then.
Brett says higher, Jacob says lower. The correct answer is higher. Brett gets that one right. Shake hands, fellas. That was an excellent game.
Good game, man.
Well played. Guys, what should we expect on Saturday night when you guys hit the field?
Well, both are great programs, and it'll be a great game.
Yeah, hard-fought game, really good game, great environment, and I don't know, people have to be there to really experience it. So.
All right. Well, we'll hold you to that, and we'll be there for sure. And again, let's see. The next segment is the playoff picture as we head into Week 10. We have several teams in the area who can clinch playoff spots with victories in Week 10. Among those in Division 1, Solon, Strongsville, Brunswick can do so in Division 1, while in Division 2, Garfield Heights, Walsh Jesuit can clinch, and in Division 3, Kenston and Buckeye can clinch.
All right, we're now back here with Troy and Luke as we go on to the next segment of our back and forth with St. Edward and St. Ignatius. We asked these guys some hard-hitting questions earlier about the rivalry. Now we're going to steer away from there. What's the best rivalry in all of sports? Troy?
I'll say Cleveland Browns and the Steelers game. That gets like pretty intense with the fans, like fighting each other like in the stands, like after the game. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, let's avoid the fights with you guys. Luke, what's the best rivalry in all of sports?
I'll go with St. Ignatius.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Simple. What's the favorite tradition that you have at your school?
After we get the win, we get the dub, go into the crowd, say our spirit song, go put our fingers up and sing it.
Luke, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say the alma mater after the game.
Luke, do you have any pregame superstitions?
Yeah, I do a little workout before each game.
Yeah.
Just to get mentally.
What does the workout entail?
I'll do like 10 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, and then I'll listen to like my favorite song.
Great. Troy, what about you?
I listen to some Drake, like early in the morning, slow songs.
Okay.
I like to speed it up, throw some Meek Mill, Gucci, Wayne, Drake.
All the greats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah. Tupac, Biggie.
All right, well, you sort of jumped ahead to my next question. What song really pumps you up? Out of all those, which is your favorite?
Tupac, Hit 'Em Up.
Hit 'em up. All right, sounds good. We'll see if you'll be hitting them up on Saturday night. Luke, what about you? What's your favorite song?
I'll go Go Get It by Young Jeezy.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Luke, what's something that Coach Kyle, when you're listening to him through the course of the season, he just says all the time?
Play 4 quarters.
Play 4 quarters?
Yeah.
And what about Coach Finati? What does he always say?
Just be physical, be physical, be physical.
All right, when you not playing football, maybe it's after the season or just on a weeknight where you're trying to unwind, what's your favorite can't-miss TV show, Troy?
Favorite TV show? That's a tough question. I don't even know. I don't really watch TV. Probably like some sports on, like basketball. Probably watch that. Watch the Cavs game or something like that. That's about it.
Luke, what about you?
I don't really watch TV much.
So it'd be like SportsCenter or something?
Yeah, I watch SportsCenter.
Okay. Luke, if you're watching a game on TV in the NFL, who's the one player that you can't miss? He's the best player in the NFL, in your opinion.
Well, it used to be Adrian Peterson. You know, I used to really admire his running style.
Yeah.
But, you know, recently.
Yeah, he's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
Troy?
Yeah, I'll say the same, but like back in the day, Michael Vick was a man. I used to always watch him play every Sunday.
Well, he's starting this Sunday for the Jets,
yeah.
so we'll see if he can bring a little magic back. What's the last really good movie you saw, Troy?
Last good movie I saw, Paid in Full.
Paid in Full?
Yeah, on BET.
All right, good. What about you, Luke?
Paid in Full
Yeah?
on BET.
Did you watch it together?
No, I think it was just
You guys didn't watch it
coincidence.
together? All right, what do you prefer, Gatorade or water? Luke, start with you.
H2O, baby.
Troy?
Gatorade, G-Strong.
G-Strong? You have a favorite flavor?
Yeah, the Debo juice? Debo juice.
Debo juice?
Yeah.
All right.
It's St. Ed's edition.
All right, sounds good. Why did you choose your jersey number, Troy?
9. I just think like number 9 is closest thing to a dime.
All right. Well, what about 10?
Can't be too perfect.
Luke?
23, it's like LeBron James, Michael Jordan. So,
Classic.
just great number.
All right. The state title game this year has moved to Ohio State. Luke, do you like that? Do you want it back in Canton? What do you prefer?
You know, I'm all for tradition. I'd like to go down to Canton Fawcett where, you know, all the past alumni have played, so.
What about you, Troy?
I think it's kind of cool it's at Ohio State, but I'm just trying to take it day by day, week by week, just trying to get there. Hopefully we'll make it there.
Big game Thursday night around here. LeBron is back. How many points does he score, Troy?
29, triple-double.
29 triple-double? Luke, what do you think?
82.
82? Triple-double or no?
No, just all points.
All right. Sounds good. And then building off of that, how far do the Cavs go this year?
All the way.
All the way?
All the way.
All the way. Sounds good.
Tonight.
Now let's switch over to another team, the Browns. At the end of the season, who is starting at quarterback for the Browns? Brian Hoyer or Johnny Manziel?
Iggy Boy gonna be starting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Iggy Boy gonna be starting.
I would agree with that. All right. And will his end of the season be in the playoffs or the regular season?
What was that?
Playoffs or regular season for Hoyer's last game?
Playoffs for sure.
Playoffs?
At the couch watching playoffs.
I think, all right, sounds good. Now, if you got to look back at your career at St. Edward, it's not over yet, what moment sticks out the most?
Moment stick out the most. I'll say ECA game. We played University of Penn. Brett threw like a game-winning touchdown with like 10 seconds left on the clock. It was crazy. Then they went back on offense. They like ran one play. I like made the tackle. Then like the whole team stormed the field. So that was crazy. And actually, at the end of the game, their coach was like laying on the ground. It was like so hurt that we beat him. So yeah, that was a signature moment.
Luke, what about you? What's your signature moment?
The Moeller game, I had 126 yards rushing, so that was about my best game this season.
Can't top that. Now we're getting Saturday night. I don't know if you saw, but there actually might be some snow. What do you prefer playing in, Luke? Is it warm weather, like 80 degrees out, or would you prefer playing, 20 degrees snow?
I like it about 60 degrees, kind of like a gray sky. No sun in my eyes, so kind of easy to play in.
What about you, Troy?
Colder the better. Only makes me stronger.
Great. Now, when you are looking around at the NFL, I know that you mentioned some of your favorite players that you like to watch, but what team's uniform really sticks out to you? What colors do you really like?
This weekend I like the Pittsburgh look, the bumblebee look. I was feeling that.
Oh, yeah?
I was feeling
That's
that.
good.
Brighten up my TV.
Luke?
I was also feeling the Pittsburgh, but I do like the Browns.
The classic Browns?
Yeah,
All right, good. Have you guys, have you been to a Browns game?
not recently.
No, but I mean,
not
like,
this year.
if you
Oh,
like-
yeah.
What's your favorite thing about going to the stadium and
Dog pound, you know,
Dog pound?
just great fan base.
Troy, what about you if you've been?
Yeah, pretty much he touched on it. Just like seeing the fans, how they react, the tailgating. It's crazy, great environment.
Great. Now let's switch over to you in school. What's your favorite class that you're taking right now, Troy?
Favorite class? I'll say theology. I like our theology teacher. He like goes off. He's like a real energizing guy. So that's probably my favorite class.
Theology. Luke?
Etymology for sure. I have it with my friend Jacob Reedy and Mr. Murphy. We just kick it. It's cool.
All right, sounds like a fun class.
Yeah.
All right, guys, well, we appreciate it. Try not to, hurt each other too much while you're out on the field Saturday night. We're going to now get back to our pop quiz answer. And the question was earlier, who has more wins in the St. Edward-St. Ignatius rivalry? And the answer is St. Ignatius. They have a 28, 22, and 1 advantage. And we'll see if they extend that gap or if St. Edward can start making up some ground this year. So, and now if we go over to our film session segment, we are now looking at videos that people have sent in, and this one comes from the Menor-Hudson game. It actually comes from one of our own reporters, Joe Noga. He took this over at Vine, and if you'll see here, during the segment of the day, could, should, will. It has been an up and down season, a lot of downs for us actually in here. Scott and I battled it out last week with our will prediction. He said that Illyria will win, I said that Stowe will win. I was winning, and then Stowe's long snapper threw it over the puncher's head, and Scott pulled it out. So we'll see if it comes down to anything like that this week. We'll start off with our could prediction. I'm going to go look at Madison. I think Madison is a team that could get a huge win against Riverside this week, really get some positive playoff points, and get some momentum heading into the postseason.
I'm going to say kind of an upset special here as far as our poll is concerned. I'm going to say Kenston could end up beating Aurora.
All right.
I've
Joe?
got Bedford could climb past Mayfield in the Region 3 computer points standing with a win.
All right, now we're on to our should prediction. I think that Walsh Jesuit should knock off Lake Catholic. Lake Catholic, a strong team for what its record is, but I think that Walsh Jesuit will bounce back after its loss.
Kind of touched on this earlier on my should. I think backup quarterback Kyle Ador is going to have more passing yards than Mitch Gadani by the end of that game.
All right.
Sweet.
And Joe?
I've got Garfield Heights should win its first NOC Lake Division title since they took a share of it in 2011.
Great. And over to our will predictions. I will now flip it over to the other side and what I did last week, and I'll go that Illyria will win and have a very, very strong finish to the season.
Now you're sucking up to him. I'm going to go back to the point total because that's worked for me this season. I think Midview and Berea Mid-Park are going to combine for more than 100 points.
I've got Benedictine will defeat Hoban by 20 points.
All right, sounds good. And we're going to end the segment here with something that kind of fits in with the rivalry. We're going to make one outrageous prediction from the St. Edward-St. Ignatius game. I'll get things started. I think that a player in that game will have 200 yards receiving.
Okay. I think after seeing Jacob Reedy throw a football in our lobby before this game, I think Coach Kyle is going to hear about that, and we're going to see an lineman throw a touchdown pass.
All right.
I've got St. Ignatius defensive end Draymond Jones, who was on the show last week with us.
Mm-hmm.
Will have as many false start penalties, as many offsides penalties as he does quarterback sacks in the game.
Okay.
Mark that down.
Well,
And you notice these guys are all over here shaking their head because they know Dre gets a little jumpy.
take a little math to figure that one out, but we'll keep track of it. Now, just an announcement going forward. Sunday, cleveland.com, be with us all day long. We've got a lot of playoff coverage as the brackets are revealed. We'll have a show. We'll have a breakdown of every division. It's something that you're really going to want to keep track of. So that's the next time that you'll see anyone from the cleveland.com kind of break down the football scene on video. So join us then. I'm Dave Cassilo for Scott Patsko and Joe Noga. We will see you next time on NEO Varsity Live.